Tori, you can go whenever.
Oh, sorry, give me a second. One moment. I apologize. Um, so our final project is on retro fitness. If you could go to the next slide, please. So the company is Retro Fitness in Matawan, New Jersey. It is a commodity service business, and we had a member from our group meet weekly from October 2020 to the middle of November 2020. Information was gathered through data and other communication if necessary if we weren't able to get in contact with the business. So Retro Fitness is a health club built on the respect and dedication for each of our members who entrust us to help them achieve their health and fitness goals. Um, their mission is to provide a consistent and innovative customer experience for each member to realize their true fitness potential. Next slide. So now we're gonna go into our problem statement. So the reflection of revenue is not satisfactory as to what Retro Fitness is looking for, given on how much time and resources are being invested into customer acquisition. And through talking to customers and managing staff, we found that the acquisition rate was very low at Retro Fitness by using their current processes, which is taking up time and money for advertising, essentially reducing customer acquisition by 50%, which results in about $1,000 of lost revenue every month. The goal is to get the customer acquisition rate up through by at least more than 20% and decrease time spent acquiring customers from 60% a day to a couple hours a day by December 30th, and by listening to customer complaints and resolving ongoing issues of the available space within the state's capacity in the midst of COVID 19. Next slide, we're going to talk about the voice of the customers. The staff of the gym are expecting that the customer acquisition rate is only going to go up with the immense amount of time spent making sure that the gym is being promoted. It is important that the customers are not happy to figure out what exactly the reason that they are leaving is, and satisfying customers is a big part of getting the acquisition rate up. Next slide. So our dissatisfiers are customers who are unhappy with the service, um, equipment, or the prices of the gym. They may spread negative experience through word of mouth with their peers, but won't do anything to help the gym improve. These customers are also not happy with the availability of the space in the midst of COVID 19. Some satisfiers are customers who have an easy experience. The gym isn't crowded when they go, and they're able to work out at a preferred time. Delighters are customers who are happy with the process, are letting their friends and family know that the gym is a great investment, and then helping the business grow through the word of mouth. Critical to quality. Voice of customer is important to quality because gyms are a service focused business, which means they need to do everything to make sure their customers are happy. Their focus is customer centered. It's easier to acquire new customers and to make sure the current ones don't go somewhere else when they are mainly focused on their customers.
So this is our SIPOC chart. So in this chart, there are different suppliers, inputs and outputs, processes, and customers. The suppliers are pretty much anyone from members to gym machine suppliers. Some of these inputs are like appointment times and inventory information. Process is going to be outlined in the following slides in the process map. So just lays out what is the uh, what are the process steps in order. So the output would be anything from workout time to increase of business revenue, as well as the customers would be the employees of the business, as well as the people who actually go to exercise there. This is the process map as is. So it would start with calculating the customer acquisition rate. Then we would have to figure out if we are losing visitors. If we are losing visitors, then we would have to send out a survey and figure out what the issue is. We would then, sorry, this is a little small. We would send the incentive that we came up with to a manager, and it would probably be stored somewhere because the manager is not always immediately available. If the incentive was approved, we would then create a visual ad or send out email to the customers. But if it wasn't approved, we would have to meet with the manager and start the process all over again. After the creating of the visual pictures or ads and sending the emails out, then they send the approval to corporate, and then the corporate sends the social media posts for the customers to see. You can go to the next slide. This is the value stream map, pretty much outlining the same thing that we just talked about. Red representing the value adding, blue representing non-value adding, and pink representing the non-value adding, but something that is necessary. So this is our analysis using Disco. Through Disco, we learned that the longest activity is calculating the number of lost customers, as well as calculating the how long the incentive takes. So technically our goal was to cut down the time on that. Through some calculations, we also learned that the standard deviation of the case groups was 1.118, where 1.44 is average within the case groups, and that the average total beginning to end process was about 14 hours. So it was a pretty short process, but somehow we think that it could be cut down even more.
Okay, so here's the measurements and calculations that we obviously found through Disco. For the first one, the cycle time, which came out to 14 hours, 36 minutes, and 1 second. Next, we show our value-added time throughout the process of all the value-based processes. Create a survey, 10 minutes, send out a survey, 15 seconds, and so on. And with a total of 4 hours, 55 minutes, 15 seconds. Then we had our non-value added time, which came to a total of 6 hours and 14 minutes. Lastly, we did the non-value adding necessary time, which came out to 3 hours and 2 minutes. We also calculated the takt time, which was 5 hours, 46 seconds divided by the 12 daily demand, which came out to 25 minutes per unit. And lastly, the number of steps was 12. So here we also did a SPC chart, the X bar chart. On the left-hand side, we have the duration in hours. And at the bottom, our group grouped together all the process case steps and grouped them into subgroups with customer analysis first, survey process, incentive process, and visual ads process. The customer analysis was 3.1, which was 3 hours, 6 minutes. Survey process was 50 minutes, and incentive process was 1 hour 24 minutes, and visual ad process was 30 minutes on an average. And we also put together a hypothesis testing that we learned in class. We started out with the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. For the null hypothesis, we got mu being less than 3.02 hours. And for the alternative hypothesis, we got mu being greater than 3.02 hours. And next, we did the rejection region with the z value being greater than the z alpha, with the probability of alpha being 0.02. And lastly, we did the z distribution value, which wind up equaling to 470. And right here, you could see just a little graph that we put together showing our DISCO information. You could see that the calculation of loss of customers was obviously the most at 5 hours and 46 seconds. And the least was send out a survey, only being 15 seconds.
So we have two bottlenecks. One of them is getting post approved to post on social media. And a solution to this would be hiring a separate social media and marketing manager who can just streamline the process by making sure that social media posts, ads, and even customer reviews are all looked at by this one specific person and can be analyzed to help membership acquisition and retention grow. Another bottleneck that we found was having enough space to accommodate everybody in accordance with the state capacity guidelines. And to help this, a solution we found that was that like having staggered times for people to come sign up to go to the gym, helping them go at their own time while also making sure that like the gym is filled to the maximum capacity that it can, while also being in accordance with the COVID-19 guidelines. Next slide. This is our fishbone diagram. Some of the causes are involvement. Too much time was spent on customer acquisition. As you can see, there was 5 hours spent on just calculating the loss of customers. There's not enough variety in group classes when compared to other gyms offered that are in competition. For environment, especially due to the pandemic, customers have a greater expectation for the gyms, and we have found out that our gym needs to be cleaned more regularly. The lack of airflow and equipment not being spaced out are also causes for concern. High prices. There's not a lot of incentive for new customers to sign up. A lot of equipment gets broken but is not fixed in a timely manner, which could also lead to the loss of customers. Methods. Employees need to be retrained to help customers feel more welcomed by greeting them and advertising promotions and attracting new prospects. Next slide. As we talked about before, these are the times that we found, and we can see that the non-value adding time takes up a majority. And in the next slide, we'll go over how we've come up with solutions to help this. So we can do daily walkthroughs of the gym to make sure that it's up to standards, especially during this pandemic. Eliminating wasted time by hiring a marketing manager. We can also make an app where customers can make appointments to make sure that they, as mentioned before, can go to the gym at their own time. Next slide. Benchmarking practices. Every month, managers can have a meeting with corporate where they can approve all social media processes beforehand, helping streamline the process. And by doing this, the time process will be cut out. And to better evaluate employee performance with customers, they will have one-on-one meetings with their employees, and any complaints that they've gotten can be fixed.
So in order to improve our costs, we're going to hire a marketing manager, and that's going to focus on the marketing materials for Retro Fitnesses, such as our Facebook, Instagram. And then we're going to implement an incentive-based system to add for the gym, like a rewards program. So members would receive points every time they check in or if they purchase something. And then that would essentially lead to things like a free month, free protein shakes, or free pre-workouts. Essentially, this could bring in more customers into the gym and even bring in website traffic. Next slide, please. This is our to-be chart. Basically, if we are losing customers, we're going to send out a survey that's going to help us get a better understanding of our customer feedback. If we get a lot of negative responses, we're going to try to create an incentive, basically. And if that gets approved, then we're going to go on and create visual ads to basically improve. Next slide, please. So for maintaining and improving our processes control, Retro Fitness will closely monitor all of our current visitors and fully take in our customer feedback. The company will be working with our SPC charts, and from there, management will closely monitor that to make sure everything is being improved on a timely basis. And then to ensure a specific manager is running our social media account and acknowledging all feedback from our customers. Next slide, please. As a team, I think that we would be extremely inclined to invest in this project. We currently see that the revenue isn't great due to the fact that the gym was shut down for 6 months. But once this process is implemented, the changes that we make will help increase it. It may take a little bit of time, but again, it should help. Next slide, please.
I don't know why it's not letting me get to the next slide. Hold on one sec. There we go.
And then our project charter was signed off by our sponsor on this project. Thank you guys for listening.
And that's it. Thank you, guys.
Any comments for this team? Okay, guys, so I have gave my comments. I thought that hypothesis tests were good. Can I take a look at your problem statement one more time? Problem statement.
Gotcha. I'm just not sure why it's not letting me get
Yeah,
back.
so if you haven't done so, problem statement, I thought, previous group's problem statement was really good. Likewise, you want to have a very concrete problem that includes numbers so that people can understand the
it's slide 3.
scope of the problem.
Thank you, Laura.
Oh, I see. It's pretty good then. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. And I hope my comments are helpful for you, and other teams may also, or other students may also give some comments on the chat. Thank you.